Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there stood a magnificent palace made entirely of crystal. The Crystal Palace was the most beautiful structure in the kingdom and was said to be the home of the Fairy Queen. No one had ever seen the Fairy Queen, but it was said that she was the protector of the kingdom and granted wishes to those who were worthy. One day, a young prince named Liam decided to journey to the Crystal Palace to seek the Fairy Queen's help. He had heard that she was able to cure any ailment, and his father, the king, was gravely ill. Liam set out on his journey, traveling through forests and over mountains, until he finally reached the Crystal Palace. He was amazed by the palace's beauty, and as he approached the entrance, he saw a small figure in the distance. As he got closer, he realized that it was a fairy. She smiled at him and said, "Welcome, Prince Liam. I have been expecting you." Liam was surprised that the fairy knew his name but was grateful for her kindness. She led him into the palace, and he was awed by the sparkling crystal walls and floors. The Fairy Queen appeared before him and Liam explained his father's illness. The Fairy Queen listened attentively and then said, "I will help your father, but you must complete a task for me first." Liam was determined to do whatever it took to save his father's life, so he agreed to the Fairy Queen's request. She handed him a small glass orb and said, "This orb contains the essence of the Crystal Palace. It must be returned to me before sunset tomorrow, or the palace will crumble to dust." Liam set off on his task, determined to complete it on time. He traveled through forests and over mountains, facing many obstacles along the way. But he did not falter, knowing that his father's life was at stake. As the sun began to set, Liam finally reached the Crystal Palace. He returned the glass orb to the Fairy Queen, and as he did, the palace began to glow even brighter than before. The Fairy Queen smiled and said, "You have proven yourself worthy, Prince Liam. Your father will recover, and the kingdom will thrive under your rule." Liam returned to the kingdom, where his father was indeed cured of his illness. From that day on, Liam ruled with kindness and fairness, and the kingdom prospered. And the Crystal Palace remained a symbol of hope and magic for generations to come.